These angle brackets are for a house here in Beulah, and they're to support just a little extension roof over the front window. This isn't a full roof, it's only about 2 feet wide, just a hair wider than this top bracket is. And no, these are not supposed to be 90 degrees. This is the pitch of the roof, and they fit under the rafters on that little awning extension. I made 4 of them originally, which structurally is probably more than enough to hold this up. It's never going to have much weight on it. But aesthetically, between the door and the window and how long the wall is that it all goes over, they just don't line out very well. So the contractor asked me if I could make some more. 3 more is what we're thinking. I'll probably make 4 more just to be safe, and then I'll have an extra one around just in case he changes his mind or in case something happens to one of them. So that's the project for today. And this, of course, means going out to the stock rack and hoping I have enough of the right size materials to do this all over again. That top is 1/4 by 1.5 inches. To make 4 more of these, I'll need 8 of them, 21 inches long. With the top and bottom arms for the brackets done, I want to move on to the scrolls. These are 3/8 by 3/4, so it's about 10 millimeters by 20 millimeters. And I've got these 44 inches long. That's just what fits my project. You need to make things like this fit whatever project you're working on. I'm going to go ahead and find and mark center so I can get this scroll even on both sides as I work on the scrolls. Next thing I want to do is knock the sharp factory corners off of the bar. With my vise somewhat close to the wall, I have to reposition this scroll form 2 or 3 times to get this scroll bent right. A scroll form on the anvil might be better, or perhaps even one that sits on the big platen table, so I have plenty of room to work around it, as well as a hardy shank type arrangement that's a little faster and more efficient to reposition. I have a chalk mark on the scroll form so I know just how far to wrap this around that form. I do have a video on making the scroll form, and I will link to that in the top corner. Well, that's one of the brackets completely assembled. Still got to assemble the others, but the scrolls are all done and the top and bottom arms are all done. Everything's drilled except for these rivet holes. And I mark those individually for each scroll in each bracket just to make sure everything lines up, because the scrolls are going to have some irregularity to them. Now, you can certainly weld something like this. Most end customers aren't really going to notice, but I know the difference, and I think the rivet looks way nicer than the weld bead would on this. In fact, the weld beads in here, I took a little bit of time to kind of clean up to make them not quite so obvious. Not really trying to hide the fact that there was a weld in the corner. I just don't want it to be a feature. Now, what about a finish on these? This is a powder coat. It's not a pure white. It's kind of an off-white powder coat. I don't remember what color it was, but I'll check my notes before I go to the powder coater to make sure I get the new brackets done, same way as the old brackets. This isn't a cheap finish. It cost me $50 per bracket to have these powder coated, but they should never need paint, and they aren't going to be any kind of a problem once they're installed and somebody has to get up on a ladder and paint detailed scrolling. So I think powder coating is a really good option for something like this. It's going to live outside for years to come and not be easy to maintain. But remember, if you're getting things like this powder coated, make sure you take the hardware. They'll powder coat the heads of the bolts, washers, standoffs, screws, whatever it is you're going to install these things with, and do a few extras in case somebody loses one, breaks one, or if the thought of what length bolt you need isn't the same as the contractor installing them thinks you need. I'm going to give them options. It does cost just a little bit more money to do it that way, but I think it's worth it, and that way you don't have to go back and have 2 or 3 bolts powder coated later. So I need to get the other 3 assembled, find the bolts that I want to have powder coated with these. Tomorrow I'll take them to the powder coater. Turnaround is usually about a week, and I think that way the contractor will be happy. I don't know when they plan to install these, but they'll have them on hand when they're ready, and I don't have to worry about holding them up for my part of the job. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. Hope you have time in your day to get out to your shop, make something, but stay safe, wear your safety glasses. We'll see you for the next video.